So one of the things that I'd read is that you're really into getting kids into activism. I'm wondering, how can kids become activists through computer science and tech engagement?
Sure. So one of the things that we started was something called the Spark Hackathon, and it's a high school hackathon for kids, not just at our school, but throughout the region. And we started it because we knew that the kids that we had were really excited about computer science, but they weren't getting a chance to really practice it in the real world. And we also knew that there were companies in our region who were really interested. Well, they would love to see more computer science graduates, and they wanted to really make a connection with what was happening in education. And so we brought these two together. So the hackathon is a Saturday and Sunday. And on Saturday, we call that a learnathon. So there's workshop times in the morning and workshop times in the afternoon where kids can sign up to learn something maybe they've never learned before. And then most of the workshops are put on by people in the community who are passionate about certain things in technology. And then in the late afternoon, we have 4 companies sponsor problems. And so they come up with real world problem statements. It's something that they're working on and they'd like help with, or just something that they know is needed in the Charlottesville community. And then the students choose to work on one of those problems, and they self-select into teams and things like that. And the rest of the hackathon, they're working on solving this problem. We've often heard from students, it's one of the first times that they've been able to take what they learned and apply it in the real world. And some of them go on and take their project to next levels. There's an incubator in town that has had some hackathon participants. Some of them have gotten internship opportunities out of it because they have made these connections with the tech companies. So that's one of the ways that we feel like gives them ownership and agency in what they are actually able to do with computer science.
Yeah, and I have really mixed emotions listening to that response. Like on one hand, I think it's wonderful that kids found agency and the ability to kind of apply their understandings in something that's interesting to them that could impact the world outside of school. But on the other hand, the fact that this is the first time that they're finding that, it's just it's problematic. What is the purpose of education if it's only going to apply within school boundaries and not apply outside of it?
Totally agree. Yeah, it is very frustrating that that's where we are with education.
And what kind of impact do you hope kids have through their activism?
Well, what we have found, especially with the kids that are in our program, so we're a pre-K-12 school, so I do K-8, but I have a couple of colleagues who are in the 9 through 12. And so kids have been through a program now, and they are coming back to CS Institute. I can tell you about CS Institute in a bit, but that's a conference that we run for local K-12 educators to help them get more comfortable with computer science. And the last one we had last summer, basically we had students come in and run the morning portion of it so the educators could see, this is the impact it has when students feel empowered to take computer science on and use it in their lives. I've seen it personally. They're so passionate about that they're willing to share it with other educators. We also run a couple of CS summer programs for middle and high school students, and we have had students volunteer with that. This last hackathon, they actually took ownership of the hackathon more than they ever had before. I think we had 7 student organizers, and so they actually wound up running a lot of the workshops because they have that level of skill now. So it's things like that when you see the students taking it beyond just doing it in the classroom, but wanting to share it with others.
Yeah, that's great.
This excerpt was from CSK8 podcast number 25, which is titled Promoting Equity in Activism in Computer Science Education with Kim Wilkins. You can listen to the full episode as well as hundreds more by simply searching for the CSK8 podcast on your favorite podcast app or by going to jaredoleary.com.